Just because the ground is dry doesn't mean the storm is over.
Dry ground is just a start, not an end.
Not an end.
Recovery, real recovery, is about getting back to normal.
Not just getting by.
Getting by.
This city is battling a storm that's raging long after the clouds have passed. Nearly 4 years later, the damage is both visible and hidden.
It's in the schools,
The parks, the hospitals.
in the hearts of the city's residents.
For some, there is still no shelter.
But I can change that.
We can change that.
When the waters rose,
it wasn't just people who needed high ground.
100,000 trees were lost in New Orleans as a result of Katrina.
Less shade,
less oxygen.
More erosion.
That's not good.
The region lost a swath of wetlands the size of Delaware.
Imagine that.
Can you imagine that?
But I can change that.
We can change that. Recovery means having a place to grow,
To play.
To learn.
school enrollments in some areas has fallen by half since the storm.
and it's not just kids who are drowning.
70% of New Orleans adults.
Read at or below an 8th grade level.
And that was before the storm.
Things probably haven't gotten better. But I can change that.
We can change that.
Recovery doesn't happen without resources.
Right now, 32% of displaced people
Live in provisional housing.
home sweet provisional home.
The number of homeless people has doubled.
14,000 more people.
May lose their homes when the federal housing program ends. But I can do something about that.
About all that
Getting well, feeling well, and staying well.
are all a part of recovery.
20% of post-Katrina residents.
Report suffering from fair to poor mental health.
1 in 4 residents say they have no regular source of health care.
No family doctor.
And 1 in 4 have had some kind of difficulty in paying medical bills
Will it be groceries?
or prescriptions this month.
But I can change that.
Change that.
Recovery means being able to come home.
The lower 9th Ward has only 11% of its pre-Katrina population.
It's like a ghost town.
Rent in New Orleans has gone up 46%.
How do you budget for that?
And thousands of people hover at the brink of homelessness.
There is nowhere else for me to go.
But I can change that.
There's a lot to do in New Orleans.
A lot.
A lot.
But there's also a lot to learn.
Lots to hear.
Lots to consider. And there's nothing happening in New Orleans that isn't happening all across the country.
Unfortunately.
We have the same problems where I live.
Where I live.
Where I live.
Where I live.
But I can change that.
Not because I'm better.
Or more capable. But because Jesus is already at work.
Everywhere.
All the time.
We're serving New Orleans because we're meant to serve.
And have been served ourselves. We are listening to New Orleans because we are meant to listen. And when we leave New Orleans, we take with us the story of a city.
And the story of a savior.
Being his hands and feet in the places we call home.
Because after a storm,
Dry land is just a beginning,
not an end.
not an end.